So if you're watching this video, you're probably asking yourself, should I fire my financial advisor? Or you may be asking, what should I be thinking about when hiring a financial advisor? Well, first, just let me explain the difference. So a financial advisor, in most cases, in order to manage your money, they have to be licensed with certain series certifications in the appropriate state that they're managing their clients. Financial educators will often educate on financial literacy topics, but do not have direct management of your finances, like your 401k or stock portfolios or anything like that. So that's a big difference between a financial advisor versus an educator. And what I'm talking about today is more of an advisor, someone that manages your finances um, uh, from end to end, right? So, from my experience, some of the reasons that you may be thinking about firing your advisor is first, I'll start off with just lack of communication. So, in my experience with working with financial advisors, you want to make sure that you have somebody that you can connect with and that is available to you, especially when you have questions. When I first started with my financial advisor many years ago, I was very naive to how money worked, although I did the normal contributions to my job's 401k. I put away money for a rainy day, etc. But I didn't understand how investments work. I didn't understand fully how my 401k worked, although, like many of you, we get into the cycle of contributing through our employer, right? But we don't really understand what that money is doing, how it's performing, or how it's supposed to be performing, right? So, one thing I will say was when it comes to communication, in my experience, most advisors will set up a routine, either monthly, but most will set up a quarterly review to review your portfolio with you and just see how performance for that previous quarter was. And that tends to be the extent of it. However, if you're just starting off and probably have a lot of questions, or probably don't even know what questions to ask, which was the case in my situation, I didn't know what I didn't know, right? So I had no foundation of what types of questions I should have been asking early on. So whatever I received is what I received. And so, where I think the communication or lack of communication comes into play is if you are in that situation where you're taking that step to getting a financial advisor or considering moving to a new financial advisor, I would just ask yourself, is your advisor reachable when you have questions? How often are your conversations? And are those conversations about your portfolio and addressing your education along the way? So one of my biggest things when it came to communication, looking back at my experience, has been I was given information about my portfolio, but I wasn't. I feel like there could have been better opportunity to be educated on how money was actually working, right? Second thing is you got to watch out for high fees, right? Or high fees without perceived value. Um, all advisors will charge a fee. It just depends on how the fee is delivered to you as the client, whether it's an outright cost, whether it's embedded in your portfolio. Um, but all accounts that are managed typically by financial advisors, there does come with a certain fee to manage that, right? So typically, if there's a higher fee associated with managing the account, it could either be because of that particular firm or because there's so much maintenance in the investments that you're in. They often will give a or charge you a higher premium in order to manage that portfolio. But the important thing around the fees is just making sure that you ask the question, what are the fees to manage your account? When are you charged? How often? Does it change over time? It's important that you understand the fees because depending on the amount of money that you're investing over time, you will see that a lot of the fees, a lot of your growth may be eaten up by the fees. So it may not seem relevant when you're first starting off. If let's just say your portfolio is less than 50,000, but as you accumulate over time, as you age, and your account starts to really go into 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, million plus, those 2%, 3% fees can definitely add up And then you have to ask yourself, is that worth the value that you're getting from the advisor? Number three would be, are they fiduciary versus non-fiduciary advisor? So a fiduciary advisor are legally obligated to look out for your best interests. And most of the setups that I've seen with a fiduciary advisor is that the way that they structure their management of your portfolio is that they will take a percentage of your portfolio, right? And that percentage can vary between 0.5%, 0.75%, 1%, or even higher, depending on the brokerage, right? But the key thing I want to call out about this one is that that relationship with that advisor, if they are fiduciary, then they will make money as you make money, which ties them into wanting to see you be successful. With some of the non-fiduciary advisors, you got to be careful with how they make money. And an example is, are they selling you or attempting to sell you a lot of different products to add on? And if so, that's typically when those advisors make their money off of those commissions. So if they say, you know what, you absolutely need life insurance, if you sign up through them, they typically get paid by getting you enrolled. You may not see that expense directly coming out of your pocket, or you may, depending on the structure, but they're incentivized to keep selling you the additional things. Now, whether those additional products are things that you may need for your personal situation, that's up to you to determine. But that's where I've seen from experience, the non-fiduciary advisor will be more of, hey, you should get life insurance, hey, you should get disability, hey, you should get this, hey, you should get that. And so just be mindful of, that's where they potentially can make most of their profit. And you may have to wonder, are they doing that for you and your situation, or are they trying to earn a commission? And then the other thing I would say is, when you look at performance, right? So for me early on, again, I didn't understand what the expected performance of my portfolio is, but sometimes that can cause a difference of views between the client and advisor. Is if you're thinking you should be getting a 50% annual return, and that may not be realistic in the market, right? It might be averaging more 5 to 7%. And so the important part is you have to understand what's causing the return that you're getting. Is your advisor doing a good job of explaining where your money is parked? And is it time for reallocation of those funds, right? And that's where, looking back at my initial experience, that's where I didn't know maybe how to ask those questions about, should I be moving my money around? And looking back at it, I think that there were probably opportunities over the years where I probably, or my advisor should have recommended that we move money around to maybe higher performing ETFs or index funds, right? But that's why the understanding of how your money is parked and the performance of that is as equally as important as you as the client doing your own research and asking the right questions. And then the last thing I'll say is maybe the lack of personal connection with your advisor, or in some cases, too much of a personal connection with your advisor, right? So naturally, if someone's managing your money, you're wanting to have a connection with that person where you trust that they're doing the right thing, and conversations seem like they're all about helping you, right? And grow your portfolio and meet your goals. The flip side of that coin is if there's too much of a personal connection. For example, let's just say if that person is a family friend or even a family member that happens to be a financial advisor. I have heard cases where sometimes that relationship is so close that when it comes to managing the portfolio and they're not doing well, that client is less likely to fire or release that person to manage the money, because that friendship or that relationship is so strong, they're worried about damaging that friendship. And so what ends up happening is, you as the client ends up suffering because you continue to take the performance even though you may know that it's time for a change, right? So those are my top reasons. If any of those reasons resonate with you, drop your comments below, let me know. If not, let me know what your thoughts are and why you would fire or have fired your financial advisor. Thanks for watching.